Welcome to In This Season podcast, where we unpack the most empowering conversations, have exclusive and inspirational interviews, and host special events. Join Tammy, some call her Butterfly, and explore life's purpose by learning how to embrace each season of your life with confidence, strength, and purpose. Whether you're blooming in the spring, or shining in the summer, or embracing change in the fall, or gracefully hibernating in the winter, get ready to be inspired. Join us right here on this season of In This Season podcast with your host, the Butterfly. It's time, no matter what season it is.
Good morning, beautiful people. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. Let me get over to my banners. If you're at the barbecue already, say hello. Tell me what's on your plate, and let's get ready to rock right into it. So say good morning. Let's see, who do we have here? All right, my Miss Brenda Davis says, great everything, everyone. Happy hump day, right? So how was your yesterday, Miss Brenda? How is everything, and how was life yesterday? I guess I would say. Let us know. So I'm going to get right into it, you guys. I don't know if Brandon's going to be here. I don't know. But I'm going to have a conversation with him. I gave him one day off, and he's trying to take two. But let's jump right into it. Miss Brenda, how is everything going? Let me know there. And if you're out there, let me know that you are there. My yesterday was it was different. I realized that I was tired. I realized it's kind of like with hangry. When I get hungry, I get hangry. Like, I really have the worst attitude when I'm hungry. And so I try to eat so I will not get there. But I was tired, and it showed. So I'm going to rest today. I'm going to detox from work. I do have some work that I need to do, but it is a different kind of work. The kind of work that brings me joy, like the cleaning and the washing and the changing my linen. Like, I truly, truly enjoy that. People told me I should open up a business cleaning houses, but I don't know if it would be the same. But anyway, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick around the house and just detox, let my mind relax, read, clean, and things like that. So I realized yesterday that I do have to find a point where I put it on cruise control, you guys. So my auntie Richetta is in the house. She says, good morning, Butterfly and everyone. And nephew, I think this is nephew right here. I'm sorry, excuse me. So good morning, Big Mike. And I think we're going to share your story today, regardless. I don't know what Brandon's going to do, but if he comes in or not, we're going to still share it today. I think it's very, very, very important that we share it, just because life happens, life pops on us, and it's up to us whether we, what do we do when life pops? How do we do it? How do we recognize it? How do we embrace it as we continue to see that we're not going through anything, we are growing through, always growing through everything. And that was one of the toughest things that I had to allow myself to embrace, is that no matter who you are and how much God loves you. In fact, I think the more you love on God, the more He prunes, He allows those challenges to come before you so that you will grow through and to the place that He is getting you to, right? So embrace life. Miss Brenda says, my yesterday was great. One of my childhood friends is here from Atlanta. I spent some time with him and his family yesterday. We had a great time just sitting around talking about life and our childhood. Now that's joy there. That's joy. So let's jump right into it. Daily motivations. Why are we here? Daily Motivations for African American Success will help you focus on the thoughts, attitudes, and deeds that will lead you to the achievement of your true goals. In 365 short but powerful motivations, one for each day of the year, Dennis Kimbro, also the author of the popular Think and Grow Rich, a Black Choice, leads us to discover how to use the present moment, you guys, right where you are, the present moment, and our own gifts. Let me say, and your gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes, but also when to say no, and when to look inward for answers to life's challenges. Each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans, such as, but certainly not limited to, Malcolm X, Marion Wright Elderman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Gout, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh, fresh encouragement every day of the year. But what it teaches you will last a lifetime, you guys. What it teaches you, what you allow it to teach you, will change your life. And these are my words, right? I'm going to add to it. Will change your life. And that will last a lifetime. Black Enterprise says that each affirmation in this valuable and thought provoking book takes only a few minutes to read, but it is worthy of more time for contemplation. And again, that comes from Black Enterprise. Good morning, Brandon.
Good morning. How you doing, Mama?
Good. What's going on with you over there?
Good, good. Nothing much. Just waking up, getting started for the day.
Okay.
Day 217. I heard you reading over there. I like to hear your voice, baby. Sound good doing it.
Well, I thank you. I thank you. I
Yeah.
thank you. So Big Mike says, got new clients, teammates, and trying to get them allocated. Way to go, Big Mike. Get up and get that worm. Get up and get it. So all right, you guys. Brandon, are you gonna read us in?
Yeah. I'll read
I've
us in.
already Okay.
Ready for me to jump into it?
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's jump right into it.
I had it
Let
cool.
me get my banners up. All right. We are ready when you are.
Sounds good. Well, today's title is Sesame Street for September 4th on day 217. The title today is Sesame Street.
Oh boy.
And Effie Berry, the wife of Marion Barry, the former mayor of Washington, D.C., says that all of us are born in a state of ignorance, and many of us never change residence. All of us are born in a state of ignorance, and many of us never change residence. It's remarkable how much you have to know before you realize how little you know. We are where we are because of what we know. If we hope to experience more of what life has to offer, we'll be forced to take in additional information. Life is for learning. In the first 5 years alone, we learn to walk, talk, eat, and interact with playmates and family. From 5 to 10, we learn to read, write, and do arithmetic. We also learned more about friends, relatives, supporters, and detractors. And so, our learning continued. Most people continue to learn until the age of 15 or 20. Then the growth slows, or in some cases stops. Most people then declare their formal education is over. They feel they have nothing else to learn, which means they have a lot to learn. I'll say that again. They feel they have nothing else to learn, which really means they have a lot to learn. An ancient African proverb offers excellent advice. He who knows not and knows not that he knows not is a fool. Shun him. He who knows not and knows that he knows not is a child. Teach him. And he who knows not and knows not that he knows is asleep. Wake him. He who knows not and knows that he knows is wise. Follow him. Hmm. And the affirmation that we read at the bottom of the page for the day is I now know that it makes a big difference in life, whether I live and learn or just live. Again, I now know that it makes a big difference in life, whether I live and learn or just live.
Mm.
Over to you, Mom.
I feel like you need to do the nose knots again. Did y'all get them?
I know I was like in a it was like a I guess a
Yeah.
proverb, but it was like a riddle.
Yeah, we might need to
Let me do it
just
again.
spend the time on that one, on understanding the knots. Um, yeah, let's read over that one because I think that's the most important part here for now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I get it, but it's a lot to get there. Like I get the fact that for me, I know the more that I learn, and I've been saying this for years, the more I realize how much I don't know and how much more there is to learn, even about myself and my own growth. I just realized, wow, there's so much peeling back of this,
Mm-hmm.
which is the reason, I say be a student to life, to your life. Know the life that you're going to live. Is life wearing you or you wearing life? Pimping wearing you or you wearing the pimping, right? Is life pimping you or you pimping life? However you want to look at it. So let's do the knots again.
Okay. It
Okay.
says an ancient African proverb offers excellent advice. He who knows not and knows not that he knows not is a fool. Shun him. He who knows not and knows that he knows not is a child. Teach him. He who knows not and knows not that he knows is asleep. Wake him. And he who knows not and knows that he knows is wise. Follow him.
Okay. Okay. Got it a bit more.
Yeah, that's pretty deep. But
Yeah,
over to you. What do you think?
that is deep. I'm going to focus on the one, he who knows not and knows not that he knows is asleep. Wake him, because I think that is the most fitting one of the people today, that we're asleep. We're unconsciously living our lives out through um, false realities and perspectives of life that keeps us from, as it said yesterday, our affirmation was to avoid spiritual and moral blindness. I will keep my eyes, my mind, and my heart open. And I believe that a lot of us have become closed minded. Our hearts are closed, right? Our eyes are closed. They're open, but we cannot see. We do not see. Um, we don't call it in the way that we see it, right? We call it in the way that we think we see it, or we pretend to see it. And that was yesterday's topic and affirmation. Also, we stop learning. We stop the process of growing. It says here, when we get to about 15 to 20, I think it said, Brandon, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That we stop learning, or maybe perhaps when we feel like we know all we need to know. So untrue. So untrue. We could never, ever, ever learn all that there is to know about God, our creator. But do we really, really, really seek that learning? Do we really seek it? It says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, right? And there's more. So, but we typically just stop there. Um, and I truly believe once we stop seeking, and I believe seeking that knowledge brings us knowledge of self. And then the battle, I won't say one of the battle that we fight most is the battle of self, right? Of that closed mind. Because there's a realness, I believe, in us that speaks to us all the time, that tries to guide us. And I'll just say, perhaps the Holy Spirit. There's a realness in us that in our closed mindedness, our closed eyes, um, our moral blindness, I'll say, and the spiritual blindness, that becomes the battle with self. And if you're battling, I say, if you're lying to yourself, you are lying, you will lie to me, and so forth and so on. But if you're battling yourself, you will battle with me no matter how much I try to help you. You will battle with your spouse no matter how much he or she tries to help you heal or be there for you. You cannot receive what you've not already received or that you want to receive. And sometimes we get caught up in these knots thinking, I do not need to learn. I do not need to change, right? That I've made it. I'm here. And I would be a fool if I thought that I'd made it in this journey of learning and transforming my life. Because again, as I peel one orange, whatever it is, right, there's another. There's something else that pops up as life pops in me that tells me, hey, you've reached another place of learning, but there's so much more to go. Um, I said, I think I said this earlier, the more I learn, the more I realize I know nothing. Not is in nothing. N-O-T. Nothing. I know not nothing, y'all. I'm so serious. There's no way. I know what I know, what I've learned, but there's so much more. So much more of me. So much more of you. Um, Brandon, why do you think they titled this one Sesame Street?
I think they titled it Sesame Street because in the beginning it says that a lot of us are born into ignorance, and but many of us never change residence, and that residence is Sesame Street because we're learning like a child, or we're
Got you. All right.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, and that can be taken two different ways. Sesame Street is many people, maybe never leave Sesame Street and never stop being ignorant, and then on the flip side, maybe people never stop learning. Like every day is a day on Sesame Street, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because as far as I can remember, Sesame Street was always teaching something.
Teaching something.
So,
Okay.
it could be taken in two different ways, just depending on how you look at it. One, maybe people never move, they never leave that residence or change residence from being born, in a state of ignorance, and so they're on Sesame Street, or they're on Sesame Street because they haven't reached an impediment, but they stay there to learn. So I guess it could be taken either way, but either way, Sesame Street was looked at to me as a place of learning, and then it reflected the quote of never changing residence.
Hmm. When you said so, yeah, I'm glad you thought of that because I didn't quite put it together as of yet, thinking about those children sitting there learning. But imagine you guys, it's perfectly okay for a child to sit and watch Sesame Street. It's perfectly okay for an adult to sit with a child and watch Sesame Street. But if you're an adult, right, and you continue to sit there alone, if Sesame Street is your thing, it's your TV thing, then it's a problem. Like adults should not sit there and watch ABCs and one, two, threes like a child would or by themselves, right? That's how I think this is saying we do life. We sit in the things that we already know, but perhaps we don't evolve in them, through them. So imagine it's okay, like I said, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. But imagine someone telling you, man, I'm gonna go home. Sesame Street is someone 25, 30. Sesame Street is my show.
Mhm.
I sit and watch it all the time. What would you think? What would you think, Brandon?
You're a little weird, or do you have something to do with the show? Are you a animator? What, are you trying to do something with it? Why are you sitting home watching Sesame Street? That just seems very weird. It seems that there's more that you could do with your time, as an adult. That there's more things to learn than to repeat the same thing over and over.
Right. And I like the fact that Brandon says he would have some questions, because that you bring up a great point. It could be that it's part of his job to watch things like that in order to perfect them or add to
Yeah,
them
maybe
or take
a child
away.
psychologist or
Right,
something.
right, right. Different thing. But some of us are just sitting in the same old mess, sitting watching Sesame Street over and over and over again, expecting to,
Aimlessly.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So great point, Brandon. I'll turn it over to you. I don't have much more to say other than what I've said. Be a student to your life. Are you wearing life, or is life wearing you? Um, and again, the more, and maybe this is not for everybody, I don't know, but I'm telling y'all, the more I learn, the more I realize. My friend Tika and I, years and years and years ago, we started saying that because we're like, man, this is so much to unravel how we feel, our emotional healthiness, the feelings, the thoughts that come up, that are whispered sometimes. I was sharing with someone yesterday about, Brandon, what you would say about thoughts can be whispered to us so much so that we think that they're our own. The more you grow, the more you're able to determine which are suiting or fitting for your life, for the goals you have in your life, the vision, right? Um, so I'll just say to people, man, y'all got to keep growing and stop watching Sesame Street. You're grown now. You're grown. What is the not about the child, Brandon? It says, he who knows not and knows that he knows not is a child. Teach him. Which knot are you in here? Which knot? Right? And when you find that out, tie a knot on that thing and let it go. Start to live. Change the station. You already know your ABCs and your one, two, threes. You already know the phonics of the letters and things like that. Why are you still watching Sesame Street? And why do you not know this? Right? Over to you, Brandon.
Thanks, Mom. I'm gonna keep it real short here. Um, but I'm gonna read some of the italicized parts. It says life is for learning. And you can learn your entire life. I've met people, in their 70s, 80s, even upward actually, that still have a love for learning, and are knowledgeable. Um, from like Noam Chomsky, right? If you guys know who Noam Chomsky is, I think he's in his late 90s right now, but is still revered as like one of the best scholars and for like geopolitical commentary. But he's a legend. I got some of his books back here. But then you have people that are like my son and daughter who are children who love to learn. And so you can see that freshness in the way that they learn. But there's something that we can take from both of those extremes, right? So it says, he who knows not and knows not that he knows not is a fool. So shun him. Why should he be shunned? Because he's dangerous. The person who doesn't know, but doesn't know that he doesn't know, might think that he actually knows, which is very dangerous. He thinks that he has knowledge that he doesn't, which puts him in a position to act and pontificate as if he knows something, and to I guess subsequently put others in a position to where they might be dependent on knowledge that he doesn't have, right? Imagine if someone was, you know, uh, did not know he was a doctor, but did not know that he didn't know about prescriptions and about how to operate on something, but he didn't know that he didn't know, so he kept, pursuing and speaking from a place of ignorance, but showing off as if it's a place of knowledge. That's a very, very dangerous person. And then if you go to the next person who says, he who knows not and knows that he knows not is a child, teach him. That's someone who's a sponge, who says, hey, I don't know, but I want to know. I know that I don't know anything, but I want to know. He who knows not and knows that he knows not is a child. or at least that just maybe not they don't want to know. It's not saying specifically that they want to know, but they know that they don't know what they need to know in a sense. So he needs to be taught.
Brandon,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of reminds me of kids get to a space where they ask, well, why, especially Tupac, well, why, grandma? Everything's a why because they want to know. They want to know more. Well, why? And think about how many adults will say, what's with all the whys? When we should be so willing to make sure that they understand when they ask why.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
Tupac he asked that a lot. I think he asked more than Zolly did um, with the whys. Why?
Mm-hmm.
He wants to know everything. So interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, very interesting.
And so as we move on, and so teach him, right? As he wants to know, and he does, man. He asks why all the time. So the next one is he who knows not and knows not that he knows is asleep. Wake him. And I actually think that most of us fall into this category. I would be willing to bet that most people fall into the category of knowing not and he who knows not and knows not that he knows. So I think that's a very interesting thing is a sleep wake him. There might be knowledge that right? Like for example, knowledge that that you're not making use of, making good use of. There's beneficial knowledge that you are not might not be applying to your life that could benefit you, that could really make a difference in your life. But it may not be what everyone else is doing. It may be bucking the trend. It may be something that's not as accepted or not as it might be knowledge that is not known, and so people play ignorant. There are some really smart people out there who might conduct themselves in a more ignorant way, um, just because that's the way that they see it done. So, for example, you remember we talked about the 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 baking pan with the turkey or the ham,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? And just cutting off a whole quarter of the meat and then baking it and throwing the other part away, only to find out that the only reason they do that is because their mother did that, and their mother did that, and their mother did that. And when they asked their great grandmother, why do you cut off that whole piece of the that whole quarter piece of the meat before you put it in the oven, she said, oh, I don't do that. I wouldn't do that. The only reason I used to do that is because we didn't have a pot that was big enough for the whole piece of meat, and maybe not a fridge in order to keep the other part cold. So there might be things that you're doing out of repetition or out of tradition, and you know better. There might be generational trauma that you're repeating, for the sake of repeating because it's comfortable, but you know better. So if you know better, I think we have a responsibility to do better. So I think most of us actually fall in that category. And then there's he who knows not and knows that he knows is wise. So follow him. So that's interesting. And I think the wording is a little funny here, but I know what they're trying to get to. It's that someone that knows that they don't know anything, and that's what they know. They know I don't know anything, and that's the beginning of knowledge, that he's wise. So someone that might say, that knows and uses their beneficial knowledge, but what they don't know, they know that they don't know,
Hmm.
is wise. And I think there's a big difference and distinction there, because they have the ability to act on the beneficial knowledge that they have obtained, but then they also know what they don't know. So they know when to take the lead and when to let someone else take the lead. They know when to teach and also when to listen and when to learn. And that's a person that I think is wise. And I know some people that are like that. Some people that often claim, "Hey, man, I don't know this," and so they'll ask more questions, or they'll put themselves in a place of a student. The
Hmm.
people that have the student mentalities throughout their life are usually the people that do the best. They're not the people that are they're a black belt after 2 years and they're off around teaching everybody, what they don't know, right? We call that McDojo. Like McDonald's food is fake. We call that McDojo in the martial arts community, where you're manufacturing a dojo in knowledge that you really don't have. And then you have some people that are could be a martial arts master and they're still showing up to class. They could be one of the most advanced people in the gym, could even be better than the person teaching, but they're showing up to class because they know there's something that they can learn from this person who's teaching that might be different than what they know, or might be a different, perspective, or a different way of looking at it than they know. So that's a wise person. So I think looking at these, we have to really figure out which one are we the most, and do we need to change residence? So I'm actually going to go back and read this, the knows and knows nots, and knows not that he knows and knows that he knows not.
I have
you
a
know,
question, Brandon, for
mhm,
you.
yeah.
The very last one that you just read, he who knows not and knows that he knows. Why do you feel not is isn't at the end of this one? So if I read it, he who knows not and knows that he knows not is wise. Why do you feel not is not? I keep trying to say it right. Not is not there, right?
Why? Why?
You know what you feel me?
I think so. Say it one more time so I can make.
Okay, just look at that sentence. So that last one, he who knows not and knows that he knows, it doesn't say not, but I want to put not there. So he who knows not and knows that he knows is wise. But I want to say, I'm asking, why do you feel not was not added to right after no knows? I'm trying to figure out how to say the
Because
knots and not.
the one that was a child. He who knows not and knows that he knows not is a child. Teach him. You see
Right.
that one?
Uh-huh.
And then two after that it says, he who knows not and knows that he knows is wise. So it might be he who knows not and knows that he knows. It could also be the person that, maybe seems like he doesn't know, or doesn't always put on and put off that he knows, but he
Oh, so
knows
he who
that he
knows
knows.
not and knows that but he who knows not but he knows that he knows.
Hmm.
Okay, he's wise. Okay, he knows that he knows.
But he still might. So it might be the person who's like an expert at, like I said, an expert at martial arts, but he goes to someone else's class. Let's say a black belt at martial arts will go to a brown belt's class. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Even though he knows, he's coming up as a student as if he knows not, or the way he presents himself is as if he knows not. Basically, a master who still asks questions. You know, somebody who's very learned at a subject is still learning. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Okay. I have to go back and really because that one is still puzzle. It still does puzzle me. That last one, he who knows not and knows that he knows is wise. He who knows not what? I mean, he who knows not. What? Am I the only one?
No, no,
Y'all,
no, no. I feel you.
because
No,
Brandon's laughing at me.
I feel you.
He
I just,
who
I just
knows
think
not. He who knows not what, right? And no, but he knows that what it says and knows that he knows is wise. What is the not there for me? He who knows not, but he knows that he knows, so he's wise.
because each one starts that he knows not. He who knows not, and then blah blah blah, and then he who knows not, and then he who knows not, and then he who knows not. So everybody don't really know, at least the way that they're
Okay,
projecting it.
okay, all right. So maybe this will help me, and maybe help y'all. Um, at the end of the day, what do we really know?
Right?
At the end of the day, we could plan our whole day, whole life, and it could go like they say. You make plans and God laughs because only He knows.
Yeah.
what the day holds, what it brings, right? So at the end of the day, I guess we know not nothing.
And look, yeah, exactly. And that might, that could be the point of that African proverb, is that
Right.
we don't know what knowing is, right? Maybe the whole point of that African proverb is to say, you know what? Maybe this doesn't make sense. Maybe we all just don't know, but we are all trying to figure out. And we can postulate and come up with hypothesis on what this means, but maybe the meaning is meant to be escaping. Maybe the meaning, it should escape us in a sense, to where we have to ponder it and keep looking at it. And sometimes the proverbs and things like that, like the little witticisms, are meant to stump you in a
Mm.
sense, are meant to not provide any clarity. And it's because sometimes when we look at our own reflection in the water, we can miss the actual water. But when the water is murky, we can see it as murky water, if that makes sense. Does that make
Mm.
sense?
Okay. It does. It does. It's coming. This one I'm gonna have to spend more time. I get it. I get it in a sense, but I feel like there's more. Even in looking at just now the affirmation, I now know that it makes a big difference in life whether I live and learn or just live. I just looked up just living, and it says, just living is not enough, said the butterfly. One must have sunshine, freedom, and a little flower. That's deep. I don't know if y'all get that, but just living is not enough, said the butterfly. One must have sunshine, freedom, and a little flower. And I'll add, in life. How often how often, just for you right now, are you just kind of going through living life, no sunshine, no happiness, not feeling free, like a flower, right? That blooms in the middle of nowhere, around every other flower, just like it, that's dying and dead, right? Are you living life, or is life living you? So that affirmation, I now know that it makes, after all of this not knowing and being a child, being a fool, being wise, I now know that really none of that makes a bit of difference, right? Unless
Hmm.
I am living and learning. But if I'm just living, what does that look like? Maybe that's a question. Are you just living? Are you just waking up every day, not really experiencing the beauties of life, of what it means to just be able to feel and hear your heart beat, to comprehend, to understand, to seek and gain some knowledge? Zali told me the other day something, and it's interesting because you hear kids start to say words that you'd be like, okay, when did you learn that? She said, well, Grandma, you seem to be much better at it. I'm like, what? How do you put those words together? Like, and she's 5, I guess she should be, but because I'm in between the learning, right? I'm not always there. And even maybe her parents aren't either, well, before going to school and things like that. Um, you're not always there. And so when they say something that you're like, wow, that reminds you that they really are growing, you're like, oh, you seem much better at it. Like, where did you get all that from? And how do you know what that means? Because she said it at an appropriate time, right? So the same with ourselves. Are you noticing when you have gotten beyond one of those knots? Like, I know not, but I know that I know. I know that I know that I don't know not. Right? So
That's enough for me.
yeah, yeah. Right. So I don't know. We won't keep you guys much longer, Brandon. I said, if we let's not hold this up anymore, because it's apparent that we know not what we're talking about today.
And none of us do. But I appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, I got some stuff to do myself, and I'm sure y'all do too. So let's wrap it up, y'all, and get on up out of here. And thank y'all for joining us. You good with that, Mom? Go ahead and
Yes.
head out. You want to read a comment before we go?
Yeah, I do. Let's make sure I didn't miss any here. Your girl Flav is in. We haven't seen you in a little bit.
For the Flavia.
Uh, right. Monique is in. Cousin Monique says good morning. I think that's yep. Mike says, "What's up, nephew? We missed you yesterday." Um, Miss Brenda says the last one I look at it is you know that you don't know but are willing to learn.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what you were saying, Brandon.
Yeah.
You know that you don't, but you're willing to learn. And Alvin Williams Jr., Big Al Sal, is in the house and he says, good morning. We've missed you, my brother. Hope everything's okay there. So that's it, Brandon. Let's wrap it up here.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all for joining us, all our friends and family, old friends, old family, new friends, new family. We appreciate you and we love you. And welcome to the show. Thank you for being a part of the show. And as we leave, please take this message with you. Our title today was Sesame Street, and our quote of the day said that all of us are born in a state of ignorance, and many of us never change residence. We never leave Sesame Street. And our affirmation that we carry with us throughout the day is I know now that it makes a big difference in life, whether I live and learn or just live. So go out there today and live and learn, and make sure that you go to the YouTube channel In This Season podcast. Don't just watch it on Facebook or Instagram. If you can, go and subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on those notifications, and like this video. It makes a huge difference. It makes a big, as I'll say it like this, it makes a big difference whether you watch the live and learn, or you go like and subscribe and learn. Okay, so that's the affirmation. Make sure you go over there and like and subscribe to the In This Season podcast. We appreciate y'all letting us be a part of your morning routine, and we will see you the same time, same place tomorrow for day 218 of the In This Season podcast. We love you, and peace.